What you know about rolling down?
Oppression, Courage, and Justice, the story of Karachi's residents. This story takes place in North Karachi, Pakistan, where people lived happily in their small community. Everyone shared in each other's joys and sorrows, content with their simple lives. But one day, everything changed when a judge from city court, Abida Parveen, moved into the neighborhood. Abida Parveen, a woman drunk on power. At first, the residents thought having a judge in their area would bring them benefits. Perhaps she would take care of the neighborhood and help solve their problems. But the reality was quite the opposite. Abida Parveen was an arrogant and selfish woman who misused her power and authority. The neighborhood had narrow 12-foot wide streets, barely enough for small cars like a Marin or cultists to pass through. But to establish her dominance, Abida Parveen purchased a large Corolla and ordered that whenever her car passed through, there should be no obstacles in its way. This was a low-income area, where people were forced to park their motorcycles outside due to a lack of space inside their homes. But out of fear, they began to clear the streets whenever she passed. Uncle Rafiq, the helpless laborer. Uncle Rafiq had returned from Saudi Arabia after years of hard work. With the little money he had saved, he planned to renovate his deteriorating home. As soon as the construction work began, Abida Parveen called the police and had the laborers arrested. Uncle Rafiq had to pay a hefty bribe to get them released, but his dream of rebuilding his home was crushed. Ali, the rickshaw driver's ordeal. Ali, a hard-working rickshaw driver, parked his rickshaw outside his house one day. Just then, Abida Parveen's car arrived, and her guards stormed out in fury. "Why is this rickshaw here? Move it immediately," Ali pleaded. "Madam, where else can I park? This is my home, and my rickshaw is my only source of income." But those who are blinded by power have no mercy. Ali was shoved, insulted, and his rickshaw was confiscated by the police. Saying is saying, and even saying's dog is saying. Ali had to pay a 1,500 rupee bribe just to retrieve his rickshaw, but the humiliation remained. Kamran Bai's joy turns into grief. A few days later, Kamran Bai was blessed with a baby boy. To celebrate, he organized a feast for the neighborhood in the street. But at midnight, the police arrived on Abida Parveen's orders and arrested Kamran Bai. He was tortured all night, and his family could only secure his release after paying a heavy bail amount the next day. Establishing a police post. More oppression. Abida Parveen illegally occupied half of the street and had a police post built there to further suppress the residents. A few days later, during her own wedding, she blocked the entire street for 3 days, preventing the locals from even passing through. Might is right. The arrival of Munir, the first step against tyranny. Munir, Ali's uncle, came to visit one day. By chance, he also parked his rickshaw outside, and Abida Parveen's guards mistook it for Ali's. They began harassing him just as they had harassed Ali. Munir watched everything and clenched his fists. If she had been in Paharganj, our people would never have tolerated her. The fearsome Munir of Paharganj. Munir was not an ordinary man. He was a powerful and respected figure in Paharganj. His mere presence sent shivers down people's spines. Munir chose to live in Paharganj because he despised easy paths. He preferred difficult roads and high places where he could watch over the entire city. Owning a house on a hill was no easy task, but no one dared to oppose Munir's strength. His entire life had been a series of battles, and no one had the courage to challenge him. Munir's struggle. Preparing his daughter for the fight for justice. By the age of 50, Munir had learned a harsh truth. Physical strength alone is not enough. True victory comes only when the law is on your side. He had fought many battles before, but each time he had failed because he lacked legal power. He had 4 daughters, and he raised them as strong as sons. When Munir was 35 years old, he realized that while his time for education had passed, he could still ensure his daughters became strong enough to fight for justice through the law. His eldest daughter, Anam, pursued law, and Munir knew that his moment of triumph was near. Justice prevails. The fall of Abida Parveen. A few years later, Anam became a deputy commissioner, DC. Now, she used legal means to take action against Abida Parveen. She filed complaints against her in the Supreme Court and, with the help of legal resources, had Abida Parveen transferred to a territory even more ruthless than she was. There, The same oppression she once inflicted on others was now inflicted upon her. The judge who once trampled over people was now powerless and alone. The end of oppression. The victory of justice. Munir and Anam became heroes of their neighborhood. People showered them with prayers because they had taught a valuable lesson. Tolerating oppression is as much a sin as committing it. The best people in the world are those who help others. Moral of the story. 1. Power without justice is temporary. Those who misuse their authority and oppress others may seem invincible, but ultimately, justice prevails. 2. Education is the true strength. Physical power alone cannot bring lasting change. True victory lies in knowledge and legal empowerment. 3. Never tolerate oppression. Remaining silent in the face of injustice only strengthens the oppressor. Standing up against tyranny, even in small ways, can lead to great change. 4. Karma is real. What goes around comes around. The same people who inflict pain on others will one day suffer the same fate. 5. Courage and unity defeat tyranny. When people unite against oppression and stand firm with courage, even the strongest tyrants can be brought down.